Their wolf, their castle.
Okay, so here we are. The keep is finished. Well, not really. I do want to put a tower here. There is still a tower here, a complete and, damaged but intact tower at this corner. At that corner, there is bits. There are bits of a tower that rise up in a decent platform. The kobolds shot at the players from over there when they first showed up. Over here, just a few chunks of wall. This one's pretty much entirely collapsed. So I may do some ruined walls for the top here. I'm not sure. But look, in the main, it's done. And this is how it was presented at CleriCon. Actually, I didn't have all of the furniture, and I've put little bits and bobs in here this evening to show it off. I'm really particularly proud, in addition to just the keep itself, but I am particularly proud of this idea of these rubble piles. It's just a chunk of foam and then, little blocks glued all over it. But I think they work pretty well. They look pretty neat. The reason I did not glue those in while I did glue the staircases in place is because there is the possibility that the heroes of Honeywood will become masters of the keep on the Northern Sea. And if they do, they're going to want to tidy it up. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, Lord Cormac is there. This rubble has been cleared away. He's cleaned that up. I keep putting a loose stone on top of the pile because I just think it looks neat to have one that I know. It's just in my head. I know it's loose. But anyway, Cormac would have cleaned all this up. So the first time they saw it, the collapsed tower, the bits of the collapsed tower were in the room, but by the time they come back and the Count is in charge of the place, he's cleared that up, and it's a working building, it's a working keep at that point. Anyway, little things like that. I wanted to be able to use it for other purposes. So yeah. It was a huge amount of work. If I'd known how much work it was going to be, I might not have done it. It's just in terms of scale. When you go to make the floor, you have to do a grid over, it's over 3 feet by 3 feet, right? And okay, did I have to? No, I could have figured out early on what the footprint of the castle was going to be and only done the bits inside and left the outside. But I kind of like the fact that even on the flocking, even on the grass sections, you can make out the hint of the grid. So if you really are, you're fighting outside the walls and you're going to cast a spell or shoot an arrow or something, you're going to be able to figure out what... You could get a ruler and do it, I know, but I think it's nice to have the grid down. It's just handy for play, for tactical kind of reasons. I really like these. And then the stairs, I like the stairs too. I got the idea from someone, I can't remember who it was. I wish I could credit it. I just don't remember whose idea it was. She does all sorts of stuff. Oh man. It's one of the channels I subscribe to. I happened to see it and I thought, oh, that's good. I'm going to hang on to that for when I eventually get around to doing the stairs. Because the ways I had been doing spiral staircases weren't going to cut it for this. I needed them to square off in the corners for one thing, and I was doing round ones. And I also like this. This came, oh golly, it probably was in the shipment with the things from Shonuff. He sent a whole bunch of old minis. And I suspect it was, just judging by it. It's a cage, but it's got things that weren't on the cage in the game, but this mini prop does. On the top, there's a green... I don't think you're going to be able to see that. There's a green man molded on the top where the chain goes and the chain hooks into his nose. On the corners, there are little faces. Really, really cool. Anyway, I'll take a picture and I'll lay that over what I was just talking about, and then you'll see. That's where, that's the cage that Touchberry was being held prisoner in this room with a carrion crawler who could sting him through the bars, but then of course couldn't eat him. So he'd be stung, he'd pass out, He'd wake up eventually. The carrion crawler would have left him alone because, well, now what am I going to do? I can't get at him. So the carrion crawler would have scuttled somewhere else. He'd get up. He'd start to, stretch it. Oh, I'm so sorry. And then he'd make a little noise, and the crawler would come right over and sting him again, and out he went. Psychological torture. It might explain why Touchberry is the way he is. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who watches these videos, who subscribes, who likes the videos, who puts a comment down there, all the stuff that makes the machine turn behind the scenes. But thank you also, not just for the algorithm's sake, but for the comments and the ideas you've given me and the encouragement to keep going and the "what are you, nuts?" and everything else. Thank you for that. Thank you for the likes to that, because when I look at it, I go, okay, cool, people are enjoying that. I can keep going on it. But a huge thank you, the biggest thank you, to my patrons. I'm not great about talking about the Patreon because I feel awkward mentioning that there's a way to, financially support the channel. I always feel awkward about that, like I'm, but it does help, because I got to tell you, this 2-inch foam, it ain't cheap, and they don't sell it in anything smaller than a 4x8 sheet, right? At least not at the building center near me. So I have a lot of it left. I'm probably going to make more buildings, I guess. Because I have plenty of foam. And the paint, I bought a whole bunch of extra paint for this. I went through a lot of gray. a lot of slate gray. I even went through, because I was about finished with a bottle of Storm Cloud Gray, which is what the floor is highlighted with. So I had to get a second bottle of that. And the brown, I didn't have a problem with. Country Maple was the brown that I used on the walls. Naturally, it's Canada, so I had tons of that around. Just, can't swing your arms without hitting maple syrup here. But I had to buy more supplies. Even the foam core, it's at the dollar store. It's just a $1.50, $2 for a sheet of foam core. But hey, it's $1.50, $2. And so every little bit helps. And thank you to the patrons. You made this possible. Oh, and not to mention the substructure, the framing of the lumber framing, and what I made the cabinet out of is actually parts of an old bunk bed, but the pegboard that covers that's underneath the foam core, that was purchased for this project too. So again, thank you. It does make this kind of stuff possible. And although I always hate doing it, if you do want to be a patron, look down below, you'll find links and that kind of stuff. I don't know how often we're going to actually trot the thing out to the board, right? Unless something is specifically happening here. Now, the boys have been talking that they've got to get back to the keep. I think they want to go back because we have the keep. But they have to get back to the keep because they think that Lord Cormac is going to be attacked. Now, again, I think they might be talking that way because they really want to play a battle in and around the keep. See, which is cool. I'm glad that they want to do that. And I certainly will bring it. We don't have much table. There's no room to, roll dice. But we will certainly bring it out for that. So I don't know how often, though, I am going to be able to give, because it's huge, as you can see. It's massive. It's over 3 feet square. Yeah, each quadrant is 19 inches by 20, I want to say. I think so. So it's 38 by 40. I think that's the end measurements. So yeah, it's big. Yeah, I don't know how often we'll put it out on the table, but it's cool when we can. So you will be seeing it in future episodes. This is going to show up. Oh yeah. And I'll probably take it to CleriCon 2025 as well. It was at CleriCon 2024. It was at this year's CleriCon. It was set up in the hall there for people to see. But I think it may show up next year, and maybe there'll be an adventure set here. Once again, No horn. Sorry.